77 WABC and Bergen Newbridge Medical Center honor the life of legendary broadcaster and our friend, Ernie Anastas.
Hi, it's Ernie Anastas. You know, your thoughts can affect how you feel. Bergen Newbridge Medical Center is the largest hospital in New Jersey, providing comprehensive, equitable, compassionate, and high-quality emergency inpatient and outpatient medical care, plus mental health services and substance use disorder treatment. The Bergen Newbridge team can address your total health needs in one convenient location. Call 201-225-7130 for an appointment or newbridgehealth.org.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
All right, I'm so excited about making my return to Israel. I've been talking about it a lot the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, and usually it's Scott Beltman and the One Israel Fund and Judah Honickman and Gabriel Boxer, all those great guys make it possible. But this time around, it's my friend Ariella Noveck, who's been on this show a couple times before. She's actually terrific, and she's making this thing happen. Ariella, if you don't know who she is, you should. She's been doing a lot of great work in the Middle East for years. She's the co-founder of the nonprofit Bottom Line Media, and she knows everything about anti-Semitism and Middle East affairs. I mean, everything, with extensive experience covering Jewish communities worldwide. So let's start with a good morning to you, Ariella, and I'm very excited about going back to Israel, this time with you and your group. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me, and good morning.
Good morning to you. Before we get to the actual Israel trip, I know you went to a big event on Wednesday. The Embassy of Israel was in Washington, and it did mark the 78th Independence Day, the big Independence Day for Israel, now 78 years old, and a bunch of big-time politicians were there. Gottheimer was there out of New Jersey. Moskowitz, they were there. You also had my friend Dr. Leiter, terrific ambassador. Mm-hmm. He was there as well. Mike Huckabee, the tremendous President Trump ambassador to Israel. He replaced David Friedman this time around. That was a star-studded event on Wednesday night. Tell me about that big night.
It was really special sitting third row. Had an eye on everything. And, of course, Jared Moskowitz, as you mentioned, is the representative, and Gottheimer spoke so beautifully. And the main line that stood out to me and gave me real chizuk, as we say, real strength, they said, no defense, only offense. We stand tall, we stand proud, and we fight anti-Semitism. And they meant it, and you felt it. It was strong, and it was amazing.
Well, it's been a brutal week.
Democrats.
I know. Those are two Democrats. You're right. Gottheimer, who's actually done something for my son's disability, dyspraxia. He's working on a bipartisan bill with Mike Lawler to get at the federal funding and all the exposure it needs. So I like Gottheimer. Moskowitz, too. But it's been a particularly brutal week. You know, folks were getting on me for a while. Oh, you're talking about Israel. Listen, tough, man. I mean, you saw those violent Midwood, Brooklyn riots. They weren't protests or rallies. They were riots. Swastikas all over Queens. A swastika flying high above the NYU commencement address just a couple of days ago. That's really, really disgusting. And when I look at all these different horrible things going on in this city, particularly the Jews under attack, not the Muslims, there's no such thing as Islamophobia. It doesn't exist. But anti-Semitism exists in a big way. I can't help, Ariella, but blame a lot of this on the mayor, his rhetoric, how he really feels. He can smile all he wants. He can say, I represent everybody in the city all he wants. We know that him and his wretched, vile wife, they don't like the Jewish people, and I believe it's translating to the streets of New York City.
Well, firstly, I just want to say, as soon as I see photos of his Passover Seder that he hosted, did you know anyone sitting around that table?
Nobody.
I didn't.
No
one. I mean, not that I'm looking for an invitation there, but in the last administration, I was there celebrating all of the Jewish events. No one I know is invited, which is what it is, right? But it's fake. You can make all the statements, as you just said. You can make all the statements you want. Where is the action? It's about shutting it down. It's not putting those policemen in harm's way. There's freedom of speech, and then there's problem. Problem means people can get hurt. Problem means executing your right to speak, but hurting others. At what point do you want to put people in harm's way as opposed to shutting it down? That's what needs to happen. No more comments. Change. Stop that.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I had Michael Rappaport on the show a couple of days ago. Mike and I are very, very, very close. He's got a great documentary coming out during the Tribeca Film Festival on June the 9th about how he's basically giving up. He's given up a lot of his career success. He's a great actor, great comedian, because he's very outspoken about Israel and the Jewish people, and he's gotten a whole bunch of stuff canceled, including comedy shows. He's had threats on his life. And, he kind of said the same thing, that he's tired of seeing all this happen time and time again in the city. Both him and Dov Hikind on my show this week said maybe it's actually time for Jewish people to reform the JDL into a more physical group where Jews can physically defend themselves, because, like you said, the mayor does a lot of talking, no action. He had a chance to allow that buffer zone in front of yeshivas. He vetoed it, what Julie Menon and the city council came up with. He also would have vetoed the synagogue bill, but the truth is they had enough votes. So you're right, Ariella. Time and time again, the mayor, all he does is talk when he's got the ability to act. Everything he does says, I don't care about the Jews.
By the way, I just want to push that into the same conversation. In December, like 2 years ago, there was a conversation floating around when the mayor was speaking with Mehdi Hassan. And he said, would you arrest, Bibi Netanyahu if he comes here? And again, he said yes, because he's in violation of, and I'm not going to go through of all the things he said. But again, he is all talk. He has no right to act on something. We don't even follow the ICC. So, he's all talk. And these actions where he stands in front of the building where the richest people live, which actually employ thousands of New Yorkers, and donate, I don't remember the number, but X amount back to New York. What is he doing? Taking more debt and then taking more money from the governor's budget so he can wipe out his? What strategy is this?
$8 billion. And for folks who may be dumb, that's why I'm here to educate you. You live in New York. You pay state taxes. So any bailout money that Kathy Hochul gives to Mamdani and the city, that comes back to you. So he didn't do anybody any favors. He's a liar, and he's a magician. But the smart people in this city, they've got this guy figured out. They just do. Now, this is a very big month for the Jewish people. It is, in fact, Jewish Heritage Month. Yes, a couple years ago, I did make my way to Gracie Mansion and watched Eric Adams speak one night. He was very good, but he also, I got my issues with him. I could do a whole show on that as well. But Jewish Heritage Month in New York, Ariella, what does that mean to you?
Well, last year, I remember now. Where was I? Gracie Mansion. We all celebrated together. We had a wonderful time there. We had our last meal. in Gracie Mansion. And I think it was in July that it was hosted a bit late. And I remember saying, and we walked around saying, oh no, it's our last time visiting here. But we celebrated it together as New Yorkers. Proud, right? And somebody else we should recognize, Kemi Badenoch, right? The Conservative Party leader in the UK. She's telling everyone how to act, how to be. And she's saying no more nonsense. We ought to take a lesson from someone across the Atlantic, and how she's speaking and how she's standing up.
Yeah, no, they're about to fix a lot of stuff there. Stormer got his butt beat a couple of weeks ago. His party took a vicious beating, the Labour Party, and looks like they are paving the way for my friend and Trump's friend, Nigel Farage, to actually be the man there in the UK. If that's going to be the case, a lot of these anti-Semitism issues and money issues and loyalty issues in the UK will go away overnight if Nigel Farage takes over in a couple of years for Stormer. One last thing. I mentioned we're going to Israel, and again, I usually go with One Israel Fund, and I do these amazing tours, Eve Harrow and Joshua in the Land and all these great people taking me all over Israel. And then I was doing my show from there for the most part the last couple of times. This is not about the show. This trip is more about the JNS.org summit. I did have Alex Trayman live in studio just yesterday. That was fantastic. He's in from Jerusalem. What else can we expect to see on this next trip to the Holy Land?
Perfect. Firstly, we're so excited. I'm so excited to host you. So I have a nonprofit called Bottom Line Media. And what we do is we work to bring people to Israel. And the whole goal is everyone to see it for themselves and also eat everything you see and meet the people and go to all the sites. And what does that mean? What is of value to you? There's so much if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, there's so many things to learn that we're all together. And this time we're doing something really special. actually just confirmed yesterday, we'll be seeing your friend, Ambassador Huckabee. He'll be coming to Hadassah Hospital, where we'll be going on the Sunday that we're there to see. Really, the Hadassah Hospital to me is like if the Jetsons had a hospital. That is what it's like there. And they're the only American hospital in Israel offering so much to so many. And they're really ahead, not even just building the innovation. They are ahead of innovation and bringing us where innovation needs to be. So we're going to see that with our own eyes. And we're going to see Ambassador Huckabee for lunch as well. He'll come greet us.
Nice.
And we have a few people that you're going to know as well. I know there's Xavier coming with us from PragerU, which is exciting. This guy, he's a Babka King, and he calls himself. He'll be with us.